who gives women the hardest time when they get a promotion? Are the women. And now you know why. So if you ever felt jealous of another woman, and most of you will not admit that you did, but trust me, we do. We are jealous when other women get the better deal, get the promotion. We feel this urge inside, why did she get that? Why didn't I get that deal? So don't beat yourself up about that, because everybody else in the room felt the same way. Because we are so used to be on the same level. So when somebody moves up on that level, we have a problem with that. And we give them a hard time. Not necessarily directly, more from the back door. Talk to other women, hope she finds out at some point that we think, right? That's, women do that. But promotion is very important. So men have to understand, because men don't get that. Men don't get that. They say, he was the better one, he got the deal, and they applaud each other, and they move on. And then you ask him, weren't you sad that he didn't get it? No, he got the deal, it's okay, let's move on. I lost this time, I'm gonna win next time. Check mark and move on. We have a harder time with that. They actually help each other and promote each other when they have outstanding performances. They applaud each other. We don't. We have a harder time with that. Let me give you another example. So there was a lady who actually went undercover as a man several years ago and tried to live as a man, I think for 18 months. And she wanted to see how men actually are. How do they talk to each other and everything else? So she was dressed as a man and she went to a bowling tournament. So she never bowled in her entire life. So what happened, this funny thing is, she bowled so bad that the other men got embarrassed that one of their species is so bad. Yeah, one of their men, how can another man be so bad in bowling? So they all helped him and taught him and showed him all the tricks that he's not that bad, because they were embarrassed that another man can be that bad. So, and then they played on, and at some point there was a guy who was really, really good. So I don't know, I don't bowl, so I don't know what this actually was, I didn't understand that. But actually he was doing something very, very fantastic in that bowling tournament, and all the other men stopped playing just to watch him and cheer him on that he can achieve that goal in whatever he made there. Women wouldn't do that. We keep on bowling, it's like, I don't care what she does, I can bowl too. Right? So they cheer each other on more than we women do. And don't beat yourself up about that. This is just what we learn when we're kids, because there is no boss door player. Why should she be better than me? I can do the same thing. I had a bad day today. I can do the same thing. When you give an assignment to a woman compared to a man, there's a difference too. Because the woman will ask a lot of questions. Let me give you another example. I have a lawyer, one of my clients. He has practiced law for over 30 years. So he had this lady fresh out of law school who came to him, and he asked her to write this order. And she said, well, why don't we write it this way, and why don't we take this passage out and put this passage in, and it's gonna look better. And he's like, what in the world? I practiced law for 30 years, so how can this little girl who came just out of college tell me how to write my order? But it was not insubordinance for her. For her, it was her obligation to share with him that it could be done better. We'll participate, we discuss, we want to understand that. So you have to be careful as a woman in a leadership position. When you discuss stuff, it can sometimes be taken by the man as if you're trying to undermine him. And we don't mean that at all. We don't. He's a boss, and I'm just whatever. I'm his assistant. I'm just trying to help for the bigger cause, but they don't get that like that. Because for them, remember, hierarchy status, no matter if I'm wrong or right, it doesn't matter, we do it my way or the highway. That's how they do this. And you're like, that's so stupid. Yeah? And we would still be living in caves when it was up to the men, because it was, okay, right? They don't make their bed in the morning, it's easy, slide right in, right? Right, change out. They don't think like we do. They don't think like we do. So, moms and daughters. Who has a teenage daughter in this room? Me too. Their drive was crazy. And they would never talk to daddy the way they talk to mommy. Never. Flat structure. Because they think they're on the same level. They can discuss that with mommy. Be home at 8. Why? The other girls are home at 8:30. I want to be home at 8:30. Right? They discuss with us. And again, it's not trying to undermine us. It's just they're used from playing. We discuss everything. So you understand now, when you take away from today, flat structure versus hierarchy in men and women causes a lot of problems then also at work and at home. Your husband tells you to do something, you disagree, you're going to discuss it. And no actually means, let's start the discussion. Right? I want a puppy. No. Well, let's find all the reasons why we should have a puppy. We don't take no for no, right? We don't. We want to discuss it. It drives him crazy. I said no the first time, so are we still talking? It's because we are raised to discuss with each other what to do. We're not used to get a no. We're not used to get a no. And there's all kinds of other childhood lessons. I just listed some that you understand. There's obviously a lot more certain words you can and cannot use in conversations with men, business and private, and you have no idea why they're shut down because you use one of the words. The winner mode is there's lots of other ones. The winner mode, I wanted to highlight that one. Men want to win, and they want to be set up to win with you. And you need to learn how to set your man, your personal man, and your boss and coworker up to win. Men don't start anything unless they can win. Valentine's Day was a couple of weeks ago, right? Some of you might not have had the Valentine's Day the way they wanted it because in the past you said too much that wasn't good and somebody else had better flowers, and you mentioned those things to him, and he does less and less because he thinks he cannot win with you. Because he thinks whatever I do, she's not satisfied. So better not to do anything, but because at least I can't lose. Yes, you need to learn to understand how you set co-workers, men that you work with up to win with you, because then they're going to do whatever you want them to do. But they need to be able to see a success there. You need to learn those words. We do a lot of stuff to emasculate them, really emasculate them, and we don't even know why, because amongst women what we say is very common. We can say that. One example, don't ask a question that starts with why. And we ask a lot of questions that start with why, because we question his status. We say why guys are focused on the end result. So if I say why, I pretty much question his end result. So there's a lot of stuff to learn. So there's a lot more, like I said, I can't get into everything. Lots of interesting things. If you know all those things, every conversation you have with a man is going to turn out better. And if you understand where they learned this and why they learned this and why the way they are makes sense, it's a lot better. Men and women can really work well together and are made to be in relationships and have healthy, good relationships, but you need to understand why. So they're not stupid, they're not crazy. My teenage daughter, actually, I was at lunch with her a couple of weeks ago, and they were sitting at the table, and one of her friends said, "Oh, girls are so stupid." I said, "No, they're not so stupid, they're just so different. You just don't get them, because they do things different." So if we understand how the other one works, it makes it a lot easier, and we don't get so frustrated. So, well, I want to hear from you. What do you think is the greatest strength in women's conversation? What is our greatest strength when we communicate with others? We're listening, okay. Anything else? Empathy? Okay. For men, what's the man's biggest strength? To the point, direct, right? Very much direct, to the point. So you have to understand, though, we find it as a strength, but it also drives us crazy because they're too much to the point. When you ask men, I just had a speech last week, and there were men in the room too, and I took them to the side because they would never raise their hand amongst all the women, especially when their own wife is sitting there. So we took the guys to the side, and they say the same thing. Strength for men, direct, and for women is the empathy. But then it drives them crazy when we become too emotional. So there's a line. Another thing they say in the weaknesses, they say, for example, we are scatterbrained. We're all over the place. And we think, well, we're multitasking. We're not scatterbrained, we're multitasking. They think it's a weakness, we think it's a strength. Because we can do on the phone, type in an email, and send in a text message at the same time. We can do that. Guys cannot do that. That's why we have babies. We can shake the baby and cook at the same time. If it was up to men, we either cook or we take care of the baby. Those of you who have left the house with the kids know. It's either babies are alive or the house is clean. It's not both. So, did you feed them anything? No, you just told me to watch them. I watched them. They didn't eat anything. And it's not bad. I'm not trying to bash on men, but they're really constant on one thing. They didn't get in any accidents. They're still okay. Did you feed them? No, I didn't think about that. Yeah? So our weakness, what they think is a weakness might be our strength, and vice versa. So if you understand that, it makes a lot more sense. Then you can use our strengths together if you just understand how to put them together. So let's talk about the nature part, the cave woman. Yeah? Because that's very different. Our DNA has not changed a lot over the last, so many thousands of years. There was something aftermarket. Man can understand what aftermarket means. Not factory installed. There's some things that came later, like speech came later. But our DNA in general has not changed a lot. And you need to understand why you act a certain way, because it's in your DNA. It's in you. It's not we think you make decisions all day long. No, you don't. Whenever you feel tension in your body, you're working on instinct. Whenever you feel tense, it's instinct. Whenever something is like boiling up and you really want to say it or want to do it, it's instinct. But we don't pay enough attention to that. So instinct is basically the biological reaction to a threat. It's not a psychological reaction, which means therapy cannot cure this. Therapy cannot cure this. You have reactions to certain things that you cannot control. It's a biological reaction, not a psychological reaction. Very, very important. So who has watched Discovery Channel? You watch Discovery Channel. So when you watch the animal show, do they ever say, well, there's males and there's females and there's not a lot of difference, so let's talk about something else? No. They talk for hours about how this animal is, the female is this and the male is this, and how they look different, how they act different, all that stuff. They spend hours on that. And what are we humans? We are just a species like animals. And there are huge differences. The looks, we understand that, but also in the way we are programmed, how we react to certain things, and how we are designed to do certain things. So penguins, for example, the males build the nest, and then they look for a mate. And they have this in their instinct. No one, when the penguin is born, nobody tells the penguin how to build a nest. They know how to build a nest. So they know it's in their DNA how to do this. They know what to do. And then all those other ones. So as I said, whenever you have tension in your body, that's when you basically drive on instinct. And you cannot control this, because a lot of times you say something and then you say, why did I just say that? Right? Why did I just say that? And because it's instinct. You felt you had to say it.